Welcome back, Movie Knots, to Into the Movieverse Season 3. We are back with the long-awaited Everything Everywhere All at Once.
That's right.
Fairly high requested show, and after the Oscars sweep, we have decided now is our time to check this out. We were talking about this earlier this week. Cody, one of your friends, watched this and was feeling a little mediocre about it.
That's
And
not
kind
true.
of not mediocre, but
No,
what?
he gave it a solid score. He was just
Solid score.
surprised about the sweep.
Surprised about the sweep, but okay. I mean, judging by just when I was setting up everything on our end for our little data sheet. Surprised at what this movie was ranked, and for those who have seen it, will understand. And surprised at the rank and the amount of Oscars it has gotten, which it has gotten 7 Oscars. The correlation between the rank and the amount of Oscars doesn't line up for me. Personally, I don't know. We'll get into that. But would you like to recap briefly a little bit about the Oscars? I know you are very excited to talk about Ki Hui, right?
Ki Huan, I believe is how you.
Ki Huan.
Yeah.
Oh, he has like a middle name there.
Yeah, Ki Hui Huan. Yeah, so I did not watch the Oscars live. I just watched the clips, which is basically the entire Oscars is just the clips, right, of the announcements and the awards. I have not watched the Oscars in years, and this is pretty much due to the fact that they've gotten very political and very there's a lot of attention around the Oscars and the award shows recently, especially last year. Yeah. So I was really excited to see the nominees because, for example, Ki Huan, Luca and I will both recognize him from Indiana Jones movies that we loved growing up. And also Brendan Fraser was up for a nomination. And I grew up loving him in all the movies he was in. And I was really sad to see him basically get blacklisted from Hollywood because of, I believe it was he stepped aside because of his physique. He was taking on roles that were really damaging to his body, but also later on you had a point where he had made some allegations against someone important in the industry before he did that before the whole Me Too thing, so it kind of put him in a bad spot. So it was really exciting to see. Also, Ki Huan has not been given a lot of roles, and that was a problem as well. So it was nice to see 2 very recognizable actors who deserved comebacks, like the underdogs. Everyone was rooting for them. People were crying when they won. It was nice to see that happen.
Very emotional Oscars this year.
Exactly. So it was like everyone, and Jamie Lee Curtis finally getting an Oscar after like 35 years of like an amazing career, and like doing movies that were fun and that she knew her fans wanted, right? Like she was doing movies that were like, like she started off with Halloween, right? Or Nightmare, and doing movies that were not something that would normally win an Oscar just because that was what she liked to do. And if you watch her speech, she makes that known. She's like, this Oscar is for all of us, all of you who have supported the type of work that I do. So it was just really like a heartwarming Oscars for the first time in a long time, because these people who really deserved to win got to win. It felt right.
Yeah.
Like I was really hoping once Brendan won Critics' Choice, I was like, he has to. It's like he has to win the Oscar. I was like, because when you see his reaction when he wins Critics' Choice, he's shocked. He's like so emotional and heartfelt. So it was like I couldn't wait to see him react to winning an Oscar.
I know, and we'll definitely check out his movie, The Whale.
Yes, I watched it recently, and we will definitely be talking about that.
Because Brendan Fraser, we also grew up with him.
Yeah.
In The Mummy and stuff. So at least that's what I know him from.
Oh yeah, and in the
couldn't say
Looney
I
Tunes
know many
movie,
of
if
the
you
other-
remember that.
Which one?
The Looney Tunes movie where like he was a
Looney
security guard on set at Warner Brothers, and they were all the Looney Tunes. He started seeing them in real life. They were
Oh,
animated still.
okay. It
But
was one of those.
it was another. He did a movie with Key when they were like in their 20s and or like even younger, I think. And you know, they said to, I think Brendan walked up to him after they both won Oscars and said, "We're still here. We made it." You
Yeah,
know.
no, it's
So,
great.
do you want to give a recap? Should we give a recap of the movie's plot before we head into it? Like a little bit?
Could we even recap what has happened in
Yeah,
this movie?
yeah, I
Um,
think I could.
okay, give it a shot. I honestly,
Okay.
I just watched it. Um,
This is for those
still
of
still
you.
digesting.
Okay. Um, for those of you who have not seen it and don't want to be spoiled, we are going to go into detail, sadly. So you will be spoiled if you continue watching from this point out. For those of you who don't want to be spoiled, so you have to leave, just know you should go see this. You will enjoy yourself. That being said, this story revolves around a character who finds herself in a pretty mundane life, and given the opportunity to experience alternate realities of different choices she would make in her life, she gets to experience them and basically use those to take down like a greater evil. And it's very like an emotional, nice story. I love the message of it. You know, that you can't really obsess over the details of life, those little decisions. You know.
Yeah.
Um, where do you want to start here, Luca? Where do you
There's a
want to
lot to
start? Cinematography? You want to start set
there's
design? Where do you want to start?
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, let's start with the cinematography part of it because that is something
Yeah, let me get my notes.
talking about the first, I would say, quarter of this movie, the transitions are absolutely mind-blowing
I
in this
know.
movie.
Yeah.
Even with that opening shot of looking into the mirror and then it like pans up into the mirror and then it just goes straight into the living room. That shot is fantastic. Looking through the hands was also really cool.
They had
Um
great foreshadowing.
yeah,
If
they
you,
did a lot of sorry.
I was gonna say, you remember that shot where she had to move the footstool, and it was like a kung fu like
Yeah,
kind of shot, and it was like that was really nice foreshadowing.
it was like
Um,
a sweeping but like
yeah,
moved with the there's a lot of little technical things in
yes,
this movie that made it tie really well in terms of honoring, I guess, going back to that kung fu style, sort of that well, this is a is it a Chinese based movie? I think. Well, yeah, they're
mm,
celebrating the New Year, so yeah, they'd be Chinese. So I guess it's kind of a callback to some of those,
mm,
style movies. Um, so just really nice subtle things that they did in there, but absolutely those
yeah,
transitions into everything really made it feel fluid. Um, I think this movie kind of, in terms of just a little bit about script writing, unfolds at the very end. I think that's when I understood it at the end.
what do you mean understood it?
I couldn't tell you what was happening until like that end portion.
What do you mean? Like you did? Well, you mean like you didn't understand what they were doing?
Yeah, like I got the big picture at the end when it was all kind of coming together, whereas throughout the whole movie, I was just kind of confused and lost a little bit, like um it just wasn't clicking. And it's
Mm,
obviously when they first introduce um Key's character, that is his alpha verse version of him, you're kind of like, wait a second, what's happening? But it's nice to understand that when they were going between the different dimensions or the separate portions of who they were, they would also change the color, the like
yeah,
color
different
grade of it.
universe.
So like there was the darker one, the darker world, and you would go back to their real one. But then it was just like, then it started getting really confusing in terms of like where uh where you were at times. Like I sometimes forget that we were actually in the world that we started out in, and then
Mm.
it's a really interesting take on also, I did see some things talking about Doctor Strange relating this back to the multiverses, which is obviously it's a multiverse. Um Relating it back to all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they did it better
Um
than Multiverse of
yeah, I was
Madness.
just gonna ask that question. What did you think
Oh,
of,
easily,
well, you have
easily better.
Marvel's version of the multiverse, and then you have this version of the multiverse.
I will.
Which
I'll personally say I wasn't confused when watching this. Like I think what blew my mind, especially when it was done, was I couldn't believe how well, for me, I couldn't believe how well it worked. Like I was I, like I wasn't confused, and I was like, I can't believe they wrote that and filmed that like
Mhm,
perfectly. Like um because they explain it in the movie. Like Alpha Raymond is basically like, listen, I'm from another universe. I'm your husband, but I'm not your husband. You got to stay with me because, you know.
mhm.
So I really
They
like the take
definitely
on this.
did a great job of separating everybody. And then what was interesting, which is a major spoiler, um, is the fact that this is all tied in their family. I think obviously that's a big, 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 big talking point because you can see the disconnect between the mother and the daughter, but the dad is kind of the thing that kind of holds them all together.
Yeah,
And then the grandfather's just kind of there. Um, so it was interesting to see that dynamic, and like really all that the daughter wanted was, I guess, to feel validated with her
yeah.
mother, right?
I think to
So
be accepted the way she was.
yeah. And like when I was watching it and the mom's like, you could tell in the beginning when the mom was like, wait, 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 I have something to tell you. Like she's walking off
Yeah,
before they go
and
to the
she's like,
IRS.
yeah,
And she's like, you're getting fat. And it was like,
yeah,
what? Like you could tell she wanted to say something deeper, but she didn't know how to say it, I
yeah. I think she
guess.
was. Yeah, I think she was nervous, or she
Which I
doesn't.
think is extremely relatable with parents.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, the tension, and you can like the fact that you could look at her face and tell she wanted to say something else. Like the acting
Hmm.
was just so good. I gotta say, Kiwan, incredible. Like the way he switched from this universe's version to others, like the Alpha one mainly. The fact
Hmm.
like there's a specific moment that I was like I literally out loud was like, oh my god, it was so good. Was when he was admitting to her that he had filed for divorce, and
Hmm.
he kind of like he like sighed, put his hand over his eyes, and then when his hand went all the way down, he was like, "I told you to keep a low profile." Like
Yeah,
it was
that
like,
was his
and it felt
transition.
like two different people, clearly different characters. Like
The
um
classic face swap when you play with a baby.
yeah, but it was like, I feel like we've all seen movies where an actor plays the same character two separate versions. For example,
Hmm.
Doctor Strange, but I can think of so many others. Especially older television shows where playing your twin is just you again, and then they cut the footage and they splice it together.
Hmm.
And it doesn't. Some people can't pull that off, like being the same
And
character but a little
the
different.
the two small differences is the tone of his voice and the glasses.
Yeah,
Those are the two main things. And when you have those two things change, you're looking at a completely different character,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
actually pretty nuts.
And it was like
Um,
this whole, and you have the two different life paths. You have the one that
mhm,
started off in that universe working with technology to save the world, and you had this one here who was too scared to stand up to his wife and be honest with her.
yeah.
um I also love I love their version of how switching universes works, how it's like you simply you can simply embody the mind of another version of yourself with like a catalyst event, which gets you to that position, you know?
Hmm.
Like the whole like, he ate, like there was the two guys, you know what I'm talking about. where they
Oh
had
my
yeah
god, where they had to shove something up their butt in order to get the.
yeah and
Actually, you know what was interesting? This might have been a subtle thing, and I think it's a saying too. When she was, they were in the office, and she had that guy who was into like BDSM or whatever,
yeah.
and her earpiece, I think it was still in, but her earpiece turned into a frog, or like there was a frog on the shelf,
Oh, she picked
and
it up
she
and
ate
swallowed
it.
it. Yeah.
And but at that time she was the singer, and the singer stopped. And isn't that like when you said the saying like you have a frog in your throat or
Yeah,
something?
I didn't.
And she
Wow, I didn't
swallowed
even.
it, and it was like that little. I was like,
Yeah,
oh wait, that's like when you have a frog in your throat. You can't.
that's
Oh my god, what
funny.
is
I didn't even think about that.
unable
Yeah,
to speak normally? And it was when she had the singer, when she was trying to do the singer.
yeah,
So I was like, that's a really cool little thing there.
yeah. I
Um,
also like the whole like she was getting a little obsessed because she saw her life without her husband at first, and she thought it was
mhm.
great. She's like, oh, I'm rich, I'm famous, and
No kung fu.
yeah, and Alpha, Raymond was like, no, stop. Like, just, he was like, he literally was like, shut up. You cannot get latched on to alternate realities you're not a part of. I'm sorry to tell you, I'm pretty sure this is the universe where you are literally have mounted to nothing, but that makes you special. Like,
Yeah.
and I loved how we got to see the other universes. Some of them were silly, some of them were serious. Like the one that was serious was the rich and famous one talking to Raymond, like, but they met up when they were older and he's now successful.
Hmm.
And they both kind of wished they could have worked it out, and they did in the end.
Hmm.
Also, something I've never seen in a movie, or at least not done this well, where I actually had to check the timestamp, was the fake ending.
Oh my god, that got me too.
Yeah, because I was like, wait a minute, is it the 2 hours not up yet? I was
I
like,
was like, wait a second. I paused it to go to the bathroom or whatever, right?
yeah,
And then came back, hit it, and I watched it. It was probably like 10, 15 minutes.
yeah,
And then that end screen came up, and I was like, wait a second. There's no way that like that much time just went by. But what a really interesting way to kind of end out that sequence, because it was like a two-part,
yeah.
they had it breaking down in two parts. What an interesting way to end that sequence as well. I think most notably, and maybe you have this in your notes, I think a really, really well done scene was the rocks.
Oh, that was funny. Yeah,
That was not only it was very unique, it was a nice break from kind of everything that's going on, and it's talking about essentially that I think it's the what existentialism
yeah.
of like people, and it's like, look, at the end of the day, we're all just these like small beings. Biffer, um,
I don't see the chat.
Biffer, he just popped
Oh, I
in.
see it. What's up, dude? Good to see
Biffer,
you.
thank you for Biffer Flicks.
Bear
That
Flicks.
that has allowed me to watch this movie today. So big
Yeah.
shout out. Actually, also Biffer has Avatar: The Way of the Water on there, Cody.
Oh,
So
interesting.
I know you're not a big fan of that, but
I will. I'll watch. Okay.
missing out.
Okay.
But I think the rock scene was really good because it gave you time to process. It talked about how little humans are in the grand scheme of things, and that the significance of everything that you kind of do doesn't really matter, I guess, at the end of the day. Right? I think that was kind of the whole gist
Yeah,
of
the
it.
daughter
It
is
was just,
definitely. I like the idea of like, it was a really good villain in the sense that like, the daughter had a crisis of like she got to see an infinite amount of realities of herself and realized, holy shit, nothing matters. Literally
mhm,
every possibility that can ever happen does happen, so what does it matter what I do? Not only is it already predetermined, but like it's not special.
right.
um like I die, I live, I have my girlfriend, I don't, my parents love me, they don't, like I love that. Also, something that really blew my mind was as soon as they started mentioning googly eyes in the laundromat at the beginning, I noticed that and I said, okay, here we go. They're foreshadowing something. I can't tell what it is until the very end when she sticks one on her forehead and it becomes her third eye. You know,
It also
and that was I was like, that's genius. Like
it's the third eye, and uh Key's character also puts the googly eyes on things. So when she
yeah,
puts it on her forehead, she's like, "I'm channeling you." So
yeah,
she was embodying her husband's kindness and like the way that he does things,
yeah.
which also was a really nice nod. Bifford, you're saying it was okay, it's too silly for you. Um,
I like a good silly. I think I like what I liked about this a lot was like some. It was really there were some dark moments, but they were nicely contrasted by the silliness, like the
yeah,
bagel. It could
it's
have been,
actually it's listed as a comedy as
yeah,
well.
because it could have been. She could have been creating a world-ending black hole, but they made it an everything bagel. you know,
Yeah,
you know.
I want to know, Bifford, what you would. I know your ranking system is drastically different from ours, but I just want to know a little bit more about your thoughts, being, as you said, someone who's Asian. Um, as this film has, I guess, a lot of tropes, right, for um the culture and things like that as well. So I want to know a little bit more about what your thoughts are on the movie, just because
Mm.
we value your opinion here.
Are you?
Um,
I gotta ask you an important question, Luca.
Me, okay.
Are you sad? Are you upset that you don't live in the hot dog finger universe?
The hot dog finger universe confused the hell out of me.
Really?
Once
I
she
they
started playing the piano with her toes, and then like they were
but
like
small
touching
dude.
the.
Again, the Daniels, small detail. Jamie Lee Curtis's character had a brace on her left hand. When she played the piano with her feet, she
I
had that
saw she had
brace
a
on her
brace.
foot.
Yeah.
These guys are methodical. Like every little detail is thought out. I saw an interview, and even Steven Spielberg, you know what he said? He said
What?
that like he says he learns more from young directors than he does from his colleagues and older directors, and that he said specifically that this movie was very encouraging to him.
Is this? Oh, this is not. No, I was about to say this is a
No,
Spielberg
this is
film, just
the
because we were talking
Daniels. It's
about.
a double
Um,
double director.
that makes a lot of sense because if you really think about it, I mean, yeah, up and coming minds, right?
Yeah, changing
Um,
the game.
and Steven has been in the game for a long time. And when you're in a game for a long time, especially in movies, you develop the style because then you have fans that come for that style. Same thing with Quentin Tarantino and
Oh
all
yeah.
them. They all have a style. So
Um,
when you have these new minds coming
Nolan,
in,
Christopher Nolan. You know,
yeah,
they've got
Nolan has a
they've
style.
got
Michael Bay, like you can't get away from it because then if somebody says, if you release a movie, right? Let's say Spielberg releases a movie
yeah
and
yeah.
he was inspired by Daniels, and um everyone's like, "Oh, the Spielberg movie sucks." Then it's like, okay, got to go back to the old ways. So I think
Mm.
it's nice to see some up and coming. I mean, these guys obviously, I don't know if they're up and coming
They
because
are. This
they
is
they put a
I forget what else they've done,
I don't know,
but
but
they're
it's
they're
too much
they're
time.
younger. I think they're in their 20s.
Biffer, I'm gonna agree with you on spending too much time in the IRS office. There were moments where I was like, can we move on from here? And I don't think they ever really did. Oh, Swiss Army Man? Oh, okay.
Mm.
That's actually one of the suggested watches on my YouTube watch next
Mm.
list here. It's right there. So we could definitely check that out as well, Cody, if you want to see another movie
Okay.
from Daniels. Um, what do you think about that? Spending all that time in the IRS office. Did you care?
Uh,
Did you feel like you were put somewhere else based on
no, I
how it was
was
filmed?
no, I was impressed with it. I was impressed with it. I thought that the use of the IRS office was cool because they weren't in the same room. They managed to use a lot of different environments in such a large building. But I did get that feeling. I was like, are we gonna be here all movie?
Yeah.
But then the fact that we kept exploring it, that feeling faded. I had that feeling, but it faded. I didn't mind it too much.
You didn't mind? Okay. I
But yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
I did like that you did get some breaks from it in terms of going to the van that Alpha Wayman was in. Um, and also, I mean, they ended up still just being in there at the end of the day, but
Dude, you know when I
um,
almost cried in this movie?
you almost cried.
I almost
I
cried.
gotta change the title. Cody almost cries.
Do you know what I almost cried about?
What?
Dude, I almost cried, and I'm getting a little teary eyed right now when
Oh my.
when the chef lost his raccoon. That was
It was like Ratatouille, but Raccoon
yeah, it
Raccoonatouille.
really was.
That was pretty funny. That
Yeah.
was good. Um,
See, that's why I liked
I
it
gotta
because like
admit.
I love how they had like very serious alternate realities. I mean, not real universes,
Yeah.
and but they also had the silly ones. But even they managed to explain them all because even the hot dog fingers, the guys in the Alphaverse were like, "Oh
Oh
my
my
God, it's a
god.
genetic variation of humans!" like,
Yeah,
it's
they somehow
and you
won
saw the gorillas with
the
the long fingers slapping the slapping the regular gorillas. And Jamie Lee Curtis
Jeez.
was great in this. I'm so happy she finally won an Oscar.
You know,
Her parents, both her parents were Oscar nominees too.
the her character I was getting a little annoyed with, I won't lie.
Mm. I'm a fan of hers, so I was just happy to see her.
Yeah, I mean, no, all credit to her for doing a great job in terms of doing the character
Mm.
and doing the character justice. I was I she did it so well that I ended up just being annoyed by that character. I was
Well,
like,
yeah, I think you were supposed to feel annoyed by her, especially when she was like in IRS mode. With
yeah,
um, I got
but
to
it
I got
was
to
huh?
I was just gonna say I think Michelle Yeoh was her last name, but Michelle
Yep,
she was
yep.
incredible in this. Incredible. Like no doubt I can see her I can see why she won the Oscar for this. She was great. And also Ki Hwan was just like for me stole the movie. Mainly cuz I was so excited to see him in this and then to see
Hmm.
him like I was laughing like cuz it was so cool when he went full badass mode with the with the
Fanny
fanny
pack.
pack. The fight scenes were great. Um that was awesome. I honestly, by the end of this, I was like, I can totally understand the decision the Oscars made with this movie. Now, I have not seen any of the other nominees besides The Whale. I think
You saw
The Whale
oh,
won
you're
too.
saying for what
I
best
think.
cinematography or
I'm just saying for what it won, I can see why. I can see
but
why.
what are you saying that you didn't see the other stuff?
The other nominees, I
Like
didn't.
best picture nominees?
Yeah. Well, pretty much anything. I didn't see it.
We,
Anything.
well, yeah, no, you saw
What?
Top Gun.
Yeah, but Top Gun was just one best sound.
So,
But you know what I'm
still
saying?
won.
Like the
Guillermo
main.
del Toro's Pinocchio won best animated feature, which that
Mm,
is an interesting thing in itself. You didn't watch that, I don't think,
No,
right?
I heard Mandy watched it and I
I
heard
watched
I heard
it.
it was creepy.
It was a dark take on the
Yeah.
traditional Pinocchio um
Well,
story.
yeah. Pinocchio in of itself is a little creepy in the first place too.
So, oh. Okay, so the best picture nominees, Elvis. Did you see Elvis?
I did not. I did
You didn't
not.
see Elvis?
No, I couldn't. No, I'm not an Elvis fan. I'm not gonna go see
Well, I
Elvis.
mean that movie was good.
Yeah, yeah.
Avatar, you didn't watch that.
No.
The Banshees of Inisherin. My dad told me that we have to watch Banshees of Inisherin.
Okay.
Because Colin Farrell is in it, and I was telling him that I liked Colin Farrell. Um,
Hmm.
so he says we have to watch that. That was nominated. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, Women Talking,
Mm.
Top Gun, Triangle of Sadness, Fablemans, All Quiet on the Western Front,
All Quiet
Tar.
on the Western Front. I'm probably gonna watch. I think we can do a fun comparison of that in 1917. Um,
Yeah,
I
the
think it.
Fablemans is a Steven Spielberg, by the way.
Okay. Okay. That explains why he was there. Well, of course, he'd be there. Um, who's your favorite character in this movie?
Hmm. My favorite character in the movie.
Yeah.
I thought the grandfather was a unique character in that
Yeah.
his wheelchair that he constructed turned into a robot mech.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, yeah.
uh I don't know if I'd say he was my favorite. I mean, I guess Key's character, I liked that he was just, very happy-go-lucky. Didn't really look he was kind of what he embodied what everybody else kind of wanted to be, right? Because he didn't stress over the small things, like I'm gonna jump back to the beginning of the movie when she was like, "Oh, the lady with the big nose is here. Like, where are her clothes?" And he's like, "Oh, I put them up in the like house. I thought they would be happier there."
Yeah.
Like, like just the small things that um he embodied, that he just had as personality traits, and who it was as a person ultimately is what everybody wanted to really become.
Yeah, because Michelle's character was she was really seeing once she was able to traverse the universes so freely, she saw just how terrible things were, and he kind of was like the lighthouse. Like he kind of reminded her, like,
Yeah,
yeah, but like we have to look at the good stuff. Like that's all we can do. Like,
yeah. And at the end, like, kind of the overarching message, and then we can kind of go into the ratings here.
mm,
um
I have them
Overarching
ready.
message, at least for me, is the family was broken. um so like at the end they all kind of came together. So overarching message, like, don't stress the small things. um live your life how you want to live it. um
And accept people for when they do that. You
yeah,
know.
it was like, be kind, accept people for who they are, things
Yeah.
like that. um so
Yeah.
really interesting tropes and stuff in there. And I'd say the writing was fantastic for this.
Yeah. No, the
um
writing was phenomenal.
would you like to share some of your closing thoughts before we move into?
Um, Closing thoughts. You know, I'm not gonna give my rating yet, but yeah, very
No,
happy
no, no.
with this movie. I think that out of all the movies I've seen that have done alternate universes and stuff, not only for me was this like the easiest to understand, but like it was just the most enjoyable. And
Hmm.
I love how it took itself seriously at the right moments and it didn't at the right moments. It was a nice mix of silly and serious, gory and funny. It had everything I was looking for, and it was not what I expected going into this. I knew it was like
Yep.
I knew it had alternate universes, and I knew that there was fighting, and that's it. So I pictured like this, just a lot of fighting and like one evil universe versus the normal one. I had no idea what I was getting into, and I was pleasantly surprised. And um, yeah, and it really reminds me of how bad Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness is. uh like just how bad, like, multiverse of madness.
I
Look,
know.
look, look, guess what, we go on red. food
It
is
it
food is free here, isn't this madness? like like
it's a
uh,
different type of multiverse, though, I think. But
yeah, this is based on like string theory. This is basically string theory multiverse,
mhm.
which is, every,
Which is what the Loki series was trying to point at as well.
yeah,
That everything kind of branched off, but
which
it didn't.
in that contradicts what they did in Endgame, which was that there's one branch that can branch off if you time travel, but if you put everything back, it's okay.
Yeah.
Um, I this is I mean, the title of the movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once, is like, everything is going on everywhere. So it's just they found a way to tap into those places and experience that alternate life and use
Hmm.
that knowledge. Yeah, yeah.
All right. Do we have our ranking system reset, or is it
We don't.
still?
We don't. I
We
just have
don't.
to wipe
Okay.
it. Yeah. But
Give
here,
her
let
a
me let
clean
me
slate for season 3.
yeah, let me here, let me I'm gonna put on IMDb. I'm gonna go
Put on the
to
IMDb chart,
oh,
and
you
while I
got it.
talk about it,
You got it.
um,
Here we go.
Well,
Here you go, boss. Here you go.
all right. So
We got a little bit of a. We got
this is
an average of an 8.
um
Average of an 8. Looks
yeah,
like
this
to
is
me.
honestly a pretty interesting little layout here.
10s through 8s seem to be the common.
Yeah. Like pretty solid across the board in terms of, like I think with some movies you kind of see, well, obviously there's more men voting than women. But
Yeah.
I think it's definitely an interesting way to kind of look at everything. This movie did hit a little bit more with I guess females in their 30s to 40s than females over 18 to 29, which is kind of interesting. Um but I mean, I think females in that age range of 18 to 29 don't really watch movies as much. I don't know.
I
But
You can see a clear dip in you can see the clear dip in score as the age range goes up, and I think
mhm,
that's the idea of the concept maybe getting lost on some people, because
yeah.
our generation is very much used to the idea of sciency, sci-fi, multiverse kind of stuff.
Mhm.
I'm not to say that's just the average, so you can see just a little bit of a dip there.
Yeah, which is it's a consistent dip too, which
Yeah,
is interesting as
yeah, it
well.
is interesting.
Um
Which it's nice to see because sometimes this thing is a mess,
I know, and
yeah,
some like sometimes the ones are all the way up, like for certain movies but this one's pretty consistent. Like a lot of
yeah,
people overall really gave this movie a high score. Um
yeah, yeah.
And same for Rotten Tomatoes,
Here we
which
go.
is a little different. It's 7.9 on IMDb, but if we take that 87% audience score and translate it into like out of 10, 8.7 and like a
Mm.
9.4 for the certified fresh critic review. Um Still really good, really, really good scores. I
Oh yeah.
wish I knew how many people uh you know voted actually. But what's interesting is I pulled up the reviews because I always love reading the Rotten Tomatoes straight up reviews
Yeah.
versus the IMDb because the people are sensible on IMDb and they're not sensible on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh.
But somebody says nothing, nowhere, never at all. That's what they said. They said I like quirky movies. If Wes Anderson dropped acid and had shrooms for dessert, I waited for something comprehensible and engaging to happen. I lasted 45 minutes. Best picture? Okay.
You lasted 45 minutes?
Yeah.
Some people, I don't know. Like some people.
This is actually crazy. Overrated went to this after the Oscars and was amazed that it was awarded so highly. Essentially, a mother-daughter reconciliation story mixed with total chaos and sometimes tasteless and pointless additions. The chaos might be explainable in terms of the chaos of the multiverse, but there is a balance between this and losing your storyline and audience in a big mash mess. And then there's a guy who wrote in
I that
German.
that previous one that sounds like someone who was at the Oscars and was like, I found it appalling. It was
Yeah.
I
Oh,
went to the Oscars.
so bad.
I expected
Some
class.
people only last an hour.
Read some good ones.
It
You
seems like
read some good ones. You got some good ones in there?
yeah.
Let's get the names of these people.
Um, Yenny, genius and beautiful. I'm depressed but grateful all at one. LMFAO. If you know, you know. I don't know. No wonder this walked off with so many Oscars. Michelle Yeoh, as always, is amazing. There were parts I was slow to understand at first, but the main cast and amazingly creative clashes were really amazing and fun to watch. I got to see it on the big screen versus TV.
Yeah, I did miss out on that opportunity. I slept on this movie. I really did.
Everything Everywhere. This is from Spurthy P. Everything
Okay.
Everywhere All at Once is a masterpiece that speaks to the primal contradictions that people feel in relationships with their close and loved ones. Through an abstract science fiction plotline, the story takes us through confusing and painful decisions the characters make in the name of love. The movie puts you through discomfort, helplessness, and hope without you having to really think about it. This one is for all of us dreamers who live in our heads and travel to faraway places to make sense of reality.
Yeah, no, that was a really good review. I like that. Yeah. Well, maybe it's
So
time we give our scores, huh? What do you say?
yeah. So are we all set? Can we travel to another dimension?
No, no. Like, it's gonna be the old one.
That's fine. I was just anticipating it to be the old one. Just
Okay, I don't even know if it's working, so we're gonna give it a shot.
okay.
Let's give it a shot.
Well, let's
Okay.
see. We're gonna press the button. We're gonna go to the intergalactic movie ranking system.
Yeah, it works.
Maybe. Okay.
Bourbons are the best.
It should still work. I mean, I don't see why
Yeah,
it wouldn't work.
it works. It works.
Okay. It's just the old one with the old ranking. Okay, so
Yeah.
next time this will just be
Hey.
clean because it's season 3.
Yeah. Let me.
Um
Here, I can even get the movie poster up in here for us. How about that, huh? How
that'd
you
be
feel?
cool.
How you feel about that? You like that?
Do you have a
So
score in
sit.
mind for this
Ooh,
movie? I feel
ooh,
like I might
ooh.
need a little bit of
Oh, look
convincing
at that.
on where to put this movie because
Is it
I
lost
feel
on
I
you?
feel like
Do
I'm
you not
everything
know?
everywhere.
Oh, that's the
Oh, we
poster
gotta
I
we gotta
want.
find the better one. Do the really crazy
Oh, here
poster.
we go. Here we go. Look at that. Ooh, here we go. I'm
Do you have a
torn.
score?
I'm
You're
torn.
torn.
I'm torn, but like in a close range. I know the area I'm in.
Where are you currently sitting?
Due to the incredible acting, the writing, I can't even imagine writing this and organizing a script for this. That blows my mind. No, seriously, you know what I mean? Like it just
Yeah.
like to handle this as a director. I'm sitting between an 8.5 and a 9 right now. That's where I am
Biffer says a 6 and his score equals a 7.5 for regular people.
for
So he's
regular
in
people.
line
Yeah,
with IMDb pretty much.
nice, nice. Biffer, what was your favorite? What was your favorite part of this movie specifically? Whether it be a sequence or an overall theme, what would be the defining feature of this film for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. Good question. Good question.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. um,
Hmm.
I just, yeah, I was just really, I think this is definitely like, this is something I've never seen before. You know what I mean? Like, it's not everything bagel. Yes,
It made me want an everything bagel. Not gonna
that's
lie.
true.
I am hungry right now.
Um,
I don't have any bagels though.
this is a very unique film.
You're struggling to put a number on this one.
Well, no, you have to do one too.
Yeah, but you go first.
Oh, what? I can't. Okay. I don't know what.
I don't think you're gonna do a disservice. I think it's definitely between I don't think for me personally it's in the nines.
But there's not that much holding it back from being there. Like, I can't think of anything. I'm gonna have to give this an 8. I'm gonna stick with an 8.5.
You're still an 8.5.
8.5. Really happy with this. I love the acting. I love the acting.
I do think it's in the eights. Um
We love our eights, man. Everything.
do
We
I
put everything
think
at the
do I
eight.
think though that it is 7 Oscar worthies? I mean, a lot of them comes down to the acting. The acting, yes. The acting deserves the
So you
Oscars.
got 3 yeses for the 7, and
Um
then what were the other ones? The writing. I
Writing,
Yes, probably.
yes. Because if you kind of look at what else was there, I mean, a war movie that pretty much is just read a history book. Top Gun is older Tom Cruise
Well,
uh, with Miles Teller. Uh,
hmm.
um, let's see what else. Avatar. Well, to kind of talk on Avatar, it was very similar to the first movie, except instead of having the main uh, well, this kind of spoils it for you. I don't really think you care though.
That's okay.
Instead of having like the older guy be in like a robot suit, he's like an avatar now. Um, So
He's blue now. Like,
like there's pretty much like you can boil the stories down.
mhm.
Uh Whereas this one kind of has a lot going on. So I guess you can justify that one. But I would argue though, uh best picture. I don't know, like Top Gun just we gave that a 10, man. That was like
there
our
was there was a lot of nostalgia in that
and
10.
I wouldn't change that
There was
though.
a
Like
lot of
I
nostalgia.
still say it's a 10 because every time I sweat every time I watch that movie.
No,
I get like all sweaty.
incredible movie,
Um,
incredible movie. But that 10 was nostalgia
you know,
based.
I think for the first movie of episode of season 3, to kick it off, I'm gonna agree with you.
An 8.5.
I'm gonna agree on an 8.5.
Yes.
Um, I don't see it going higher than that. I think it's above a 7.9, but I think 8.5 is a good,
Yeah, I agree.
middle.
It's
Um,
deserve. Yeah, yeah.
so I think
I honestly like with the amount of things they juggled in this movie, with all the incredible shots, with the writing, I can see clearly why it won Movie of the Year. In terms of
mhm,
its, in terms of it being so complex in its elements, but landing on its feet so well. You know,
mhm.
um, I've never seen anything like this.
And we did definitely sleep on this movie. I think
Yeah.
when it came out last year, um, there actually really wasn't too much hype around it. And I think watching it now, um, was better because not many people were talking about it, and now everybody's going to be talking about this movie now that it has won, all the Oscars.
Yeah. No.
Um,
A lot of people are talking about it. Yeah.
so it just didn't have as much hype for some reason, but maybe we were just oblivious to it because we were just so
Yeah. I was gonna
deep
say.
in
I will say
Indian cinema at the time.
I have heard about it since it came out. Like I've seen
No, I
online,
have
like
too.
yeah,
Yeah,
like people are talking about it, and I think obviously now even more. Um, so 8.5, first
but
movie of the
yeah,
year,
feeling
huh?
8.5.
Yeah.
Are we set like in terms of going forward? Are we set for Saturdays? Is that something that we're
Um, Depending on my work schedule, it changes weekly, but we could always make it work.
but it kind of planning on doing at least the weekends?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Let's do the whale next.
yeah, definitely do the whale next. The reason for doing the whale is
Mm,
Brendan Fraser.
yes,
And
yes.
also, it also got some Oscars, I think, as well. So, definitely want to check that out. I've been wanting to watch that movie anyway, so
Yeah, get
makes
ready,
sense.
get ready.
So I know to a lot of our viewers, these are going to be movies that you may particularly not be too interested in clicking, but I highly suggest checking these movies out and kind of,
Yeah,
exploring it a little bit. And that's what the movieverse is about. Um, the multiverse of movies.
yes.
Um, so yeah, very excited to kind of see what's going on. Um, it's good to be back. We do have, I believe, some stuff in the pipeline in terms of some trailers.
Hmm.
And then later this month, I actually think, yeah, next week on Friday is when John Wick 4 drops. Um,
Oh,
so we will have to definitely find some time to check that out.
yes, yes, yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
but yeah, any closing remarks on your end?
John Wick 4, John Wick, John Wick 4, John.
What?
I'm looking up John Wick.
Oh, also rip
Oh, it does
to
come out.
one of the people died, Lance
Ah, Lance
something.
Reddick. I know
Yeah.
The whole Destiny community is doing like even like Bungie's. He voices like for 10 years he's been voicing like a very important main character in Destiny, and he's also a huge.
Um
He's a huge part of the community, as in like he goes to every event, he talks to fans and all that. So people,
mhm.
yeah, yeah. As soon as it happened, I saw the article like 20 minutes after it came out because everyone was like spamming discords and yeah, it's really sad. Um,
Yeah. So, I think he probably has his normal role in John
yeah,
Wick,
such an iconic
as the
voice.
yeah. So very sad.
So,
Rip to him. But lots of exciting stuff in the
oh
pipeline.
yeah,
Stay tuned. If you guys liked this video, please subscribe, drop a like on it, share it with your movie loving friends. We have hopefully 2023 is a good year for movies. You know, we'll take a look at what's going on and see what's happening. But yeah, if you like what you see, definitely check us out. Also check out some of our other podcasts. We have season 1 and season 2 available on the channel. Lots of exciting things there to see. Most notably, everything in season 2 was fantastic for ITM. But yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys hopefully next week with The Whale. And talking about Brendan Fraser's return to the big screen.
Yeah, definitely.
Would you like to close this out?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Biffer, really good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hit us up in the Discord. I know the community Discord's kind of quiet, but we'll try to post some stuff. Maybe I got to get like a news article bot or something. Keep some posts going there. So thank you very much, sir. Good to see you, and we'll see you guys next week with The Whale, or maybe sooner. Who knows?
Bye.